From garnering thousands of views on her live streams to getting her medical license canceled. This is how Dr. Roxy ruined her career for a TikTok video. On July 12th, the Ohio Medical Board revoked the license of a plastic surgeon named Catherine Roxanne Grah, aka Dr. Roxy, who has over 825,000 followers on TikTok and is known for live streaming her procedures. She has now removed her videos and made her account private because she's facing a lawsuit for botched surgeries and live streaming the procedures. But this didn't happen overnight. Roxy has been doing private practice in Powell since 2010. Throughout this time, she's been documenting her journey in various forms. And when TikTok entered the market, she started posting Q&A and marketing videos to grow her business. A portion of her content consisted of behind-the-scenes videos of surgeries, during which she would speak to the camera, answer viewers' questions, and whatnot. Ohio Medical Board warned Dr. Roxy several times for her unprofessional videos and live streams. In October 2018, they finally sent her an official warning. The letter asked her to consider patients' privacy and consent and not live stream their procedures. However, true to her nature, she continued doing these live streams on TikTok and Snapchat. 3 years later, on September 28, 2021, she again received a warning letter from the board. This time, it articulated multifaceted issues with her care of multiple patients, including concerns regarding the lack of informed consent, as well as ethical concerns related to privacy in social media, and avoidable complications that required surgical revisions. To overcome all these issues, the board recommended Roxy take specific medical courses. In reply to this letter, she notified the authorities that she had completed remedial education courses about plastic surgery and a course on the ethical use of social media. But then in 2022, things got really serious when 3 patients filed a lawsuit against Dr. Roxy. These patients had their surgeries between December 2020 and March 2022. One thing that was common in all these cases was that they were all botched and live streamed on TikTok. One patient reported that Dr. Roxy performed liposuction and a Brazilian butt lift on her while she was under heavy anesthesia. After a few days of this surgery, she suffered severe abdominal pain and cramping that forced her to go through several surgeries on her stomach. A patient named Amarunian got inspired by Roxy's TikTok videos and went for a mommy makeover. But within a day, she had to face some complications.
My drains were not working in the recovery house. I told them my drains weren't working, so again, no fluid is coming out. They told me, just work with it, it'll be fine. So I'm not using any of my drains, so everything's just backing up.
During her interview with a news channel, she also shared that Dr. Roxy's staff didn't allow her to move to the emergency room or even go to the hospital. She then changed her doctor and went through multiple surgeries. Amber also shared that she couldn't stand up completely and took 2 months off from her work. Approximately a year later, a patient who had undergone breast augmentation by Roxy was hospitalized due to an infection.
Basically, this is what happened. I got a breast augmentation, and I am pretty positive I got an infection. It looked crazy. I'm not going to show a picture of it because I don't think it's on TikTok. I'm pretty sure I know when things are normal and things are not normal, even though I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. So I went to the doctor. He confirmed, like my primary doctor, like my normal doctor that I see for checkups and stuff like that. He checked it out, he confirmed, yes, it appears to be an infection.
In March 2022, another patient returned for follow-up cosmetic procedures, including liposuction, and was hospitalized shortly after with a perforated intestine.
My belly button had detached. My stomach had completely opened up. And it was just oozing and oozing, like
Amongst the video interviews of botched surgery patients, another woman whose live stream video went viral uploaded a video in this regard.
Like I said, back in the summer, she did my chin lipo, which is coming back now, which kind of sucks, posting without people's consent, which I did consent to her recording me during that. But obviously she's really not paying attention. She's talking to the camera, she's talking to people across the room, just not paying attention to while she's stabbing that in my neck. I know that she's botched a lot of people's surgeries. I wish I would have known this before I went there, but
Almost all the former patients who showed up on the internet had faced some complications after their procedures. To get their closure and protect others from falling into Roxy's TikTok trap, 3 or more patients have filed a lawsuit against Dr. Roxy. Attorney James Arnold is the representative of these women. During an interview with a news channel, James exposed Roxy's staff and their incompetence.
They were told, almost, I want to say without exception, not to call the hospital, not to call 911, that if they had a complication, they would go to the Roxy Recovery House, almost as if they just simply didn't want anybody to see the complications that were occurring, and there were a lot of them.
He then added how Roxy would pay zero attention to the patient and just focus on the live streams.
That she would turn away from the patient and address a camera, a telephone, whatever it was that they were using to record that, when she might have paid more attention to what was she doing with the patient.
As soon as the news of the lawsuit went out, former patients created a private Facebook group with the name Enough is Enough. Have you been a victim of Dr. Roxy? Which now has more than 2,500 members. The group is filled with patients who have complaints against Roxy's clinic. One member and former patient named Jessica commented, "Yes, she caused me internal bleeding and my belly button is still botched. Yes, so true, she even had to cut my out and re-sew it 3 months post-op and still looks horrible over a year later. Waste of money." However, all the people who've joined the group aren't specifically Roxy's patients who've had complications. It also includes potential clients, lawyers and media representatives, and more. The lawyer Arnold James also added that he has never seen such a thing in his entire career.
I've done this for 36 years. This is the first time I've ever seen such an overflow. And frankly, I don't want to even characterize it as an overflow like I'm minimizing. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like this.
Then, on November 18, 2022, the Ohio Medical Board held a conference call and suspended Dr. Roxy's medical license. The minutes of the call were shared with Roxy in a letter, which was also uploaded on the internet. The letter stated, "The Secretary and the supervising member of the State Medical Board of Ohio have determined that there is clear and convincing evidence that you have violated sections in the Ohio Revised Code and have further determined that your continued practice presents a danger of immediate and serious harm to the public. You are advised that continued practice after receipt of this order shall be considered practicing without a certificate, in violation of Section 4731.41 Ohio Revised Code. It is hereby ordered that the certificate of Catherine Roxanne Grau, MD, to practice medicine and surgery in the state of Ohio be summarily suspended. It is hereby ordered that Dr. Grau shall immediately cease the practice of medicine and surgery in Ohio, and immediately refer all active patients to other appropriate physicians." The board allowed her to request a hearing and plead her case. During a hearing held on July 12th, she pleaded her case for 5 minutes. She argued that she intended to educate her audience and break the barrier between a doctor and a patient. She asked the board for a chance, as she's willing to change her social media practices. However, multiple doctors on the board declared that her use of social media and live streams was below the standards of care of the medical board, and she made major surgeries with potentially life-altering complications seem like one big party.
Dr. Roxy claims that this will change her life forever. Well, she has single-handedly forever changed the lives of at least 3 people.
With that, the board permanently revoked her license. On one hand, Roxy didn't have any comments about the decision, but on the other, there was one person who had tears of joy in her eyes. Mary Jenkins was one of the 3 patients who filed a complaint against Dr. Roxy. She had previously undergone a breast augmentation procedure performed by Dr. Roxy. Tragically, complications arose when the tissue of her breast reconstruction died, leading to a series of serious health problems for her. During her interview, Jenkins also said,
"It'll never go away because every time we look down and we see a scar, we're going to remember."
The board's revocation of Roxy's license will hopefully provide closure to the victims. It will also give a heads up to other medical professionals who don't perform their duties with responsibility and spend their time marketing themselves and their businesses.